at rational numbers. And a rational number really is nothing more than a fraction. Okay, just a fancy name for fraction. Now, rational numbers can be a whole number, right? Because all we have to do is just put a 1 under that, and there we go. Got a fraction, right? Okay. Now, the thing about we have to remember when we're adding, or subtracting in that case, but in this case we're looking at adding fractions. We have to have what? Before we can add, we have to have a common denominator, right? So basically what this is showing is, okay, I have a common denominator, so I just use that same number in the denominator and I just add the numbers in the numerator. Okay? Alright, so if we have something like 1/4 plus 5/8, we want the least common denominator. In other words, we don't want to multiply the 2, right, and get 32, and then we get this huge fraction. We want the least common denominator. So, can we multiply 4 times something to give us 8? Yes. Yeah, 2, right? So, therefore, we just have to multiply the 1/4 times what? 2, just 2 like that?
2 over 2, 1 over.
2 over 2, right. Okay, and so that gives us 2 times 1 is 2, 2 times 4, and so then we get 2 times 4, that'll be 8. So that's 2 over 8 plus 5 over 8. So we get our common denominators here, but we haven't changed the fraction because this is, if you simplify it, it still comes out to be 1/4. Okay, and so we can go ahead and add these two. So here's 8, and so really all we're doing is we're just adding the numerators together, and what do we get up here? 7 over 8. Okay? Alright, questions with that? Right. Alright, here we have 1/9 minus 5 over 27. And Tori, can we get a common denominator here by just looking at the 9? Yeah, we can multiply 9 times what? 9 times 3. So we're going to multiply 3 over 3 here, right? And so that'll be 3 times 1 is 3, 3 times 9 is 27. Minus 5 over 27. And so our common denominator is 27. So in reality, what are we doing in the numerator?
3 minus 5.
Right, 3 minus 5. Now remember the property of subtraction that I told you, where you can change the minus sign to the plus, change the sign in the second number? If you want to do that, you can. No problem. Okay? So in reality, we're subtracting, and so is our answer going to be positive or negative?
Negative.
It's going to be negative 2, right? Over 27. Okay, now the negative can be in the numerator like this, or it can be off to the side. But it just cannot, you don't want the negative down here in the denominator, because that's not considered a simplified form. You got to bring that up. Okay? Now some people like to do a slant like that. I do not recommend you write your fractions like this. Okay? Because when we get into variables and things like that, it's going to mess you up. So you really want to get out of that and and work with just number one over the other. All right, any questions with that? And then you always want to see if you can simplify. All right, let's say that we have this. A negative 5 over 9 minus 5 over 6. Okay? So, can we apply the property of subtraction here? Or do we can, right? We can make that minus sign a plus, change the sign of the second term. So in reality, are we adding or subtracting here? We're adding negatives, right? Okay. Now we need a common denominator, right? And let's say you're not really sure what that is. Take the larger denominator and just start multiplying. 9 times 2 is 18. Can I multiply 6 times something to give me 18? 6 times 3 is 18, right? So you see that's an easy way to do that. So here we're going to multiply 2 over 2, and the second fraction we're going to multiply what? 3 over 3 to give us 18. Okay, so that'd be negative 10 over 18 plus a negative 15 over 18. Okay, so that's like saying 18 is in the denominator, and we get negative 10 plus a negative 15 here, right? Now you don't have to put this step here. You don't have to do that. You don't have to do this here. You can just go straight from here to the answer if you want. That's fine. It's just that sometimes at first it's kind of helpful to do that. Okay, so our common denominator is 18, right? And we're adding. So, Patricia, what are we going to get here for an answer?
Negative 20.
Negative 20, like that?
Yeah.
Or let's see, you've got 10, negative 10, and negative 15. And we're adding, right? So 25, right. Okay, so if you have to work it off to the side like that, you know, that's fine. No problem there. And then let's say we want to see if we can simplify that. Well, you can break this down into smaller numbers. What two numbers multiply to give us 25? 5 times 5, right. So this would be negative 5 times 5. And what two numbers can multiply to give us 18? 2 times 9, right? So breaking it down like this can make it easier to see. Can I cancel anything here? Nothing can cancel, right? So we're done here. All right.
You wouldn't turn that into a mixed fraction.
You won't always have to do that. That first unit you did because I wanted to make sure that you could do it, but later on you don't always have to make it a mixed fraction.
Okay.
All right. You can leave it improper. Okay. Any other questions there?